All right, welcome to our show. This is the DM and Friends. I'm your host, Angelo, DM Angelo, and this is,
Chris, Clark, yeah. I have to check
yeah,
my license sometimes, but my Alzheimer's is backed off today, so I'm good. Yeah. Chris Clark.
excellent.
That's me.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, welcome to our show. This is our first episode, and we're gonna try to put out some content for y'all and talk gaming, probably focusing on some of the earlier systems, and we'll talk all kinds of stuff. But
Poss Possibly give you a sneak peek into the ultimate chaos that is our lives and the
there you
production
go.
of new
I
gaming
like it.
material. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, my name is DM Angelo, and I've been gaming since I don't know, maybe 1981-ish.
Youngster.
Starting out like a lot of us. Started out with these books right here, first edition. And it was during the time where it wasn't very popular to play. Our parents hated it. Our parents were influenced by a lot of different things, and we were devil worshippers to them. And God, I don't know how many times, man, my stuff was thrown away. I'd either go in the trash and get it out, or we had to make photocopies at school, bring it in. I think I had a buddy named Shane that his mom would buy him everything, and that he was our because we couldn't go out and get it. Who had the money too back then. But one
Well,
thing I thought was pretty funny, Chris, was I found this in the drawer, Dark Dungeons. I don't know if you remember these little pamphlets that would go out. And anyways, check this out. So I was reading through it, and um it says Mrs. Frost, this is fantastic. This makes the game real. It's not a fantasy anymore. Last night I cast my first spell. This is real power. I knew you were ready, by the way. You played the game. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on. And she says, what spell did you cast, Debbie? I used the mind bondage spell on my father. She says, he was
hey,
trying to stop me from playing D&D. I'm like,
yeah,
man,
Angelo,
so
what level is mind bondage? Is that
I
like,
have no idea. It was written by some people that have never played, obviously, but
yeah, yeah,
what does
yeah.
that sound like? Yeah, mind
Mind bondage.
bondage
It
spell.
sounds like S&M to me. Yeah, it's
Jesus.
probably a channel somewhere that shows what mind bondage, what the effects are. But
Yeah.
uh,
So
always
yeah,
keep
it's funny.
a
I
solid
think,
back scratcher around. It's yeah.
hey, nice back scratcher. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Frank. I got this at one of the Gary cons. Frank was handing these out or something. I don't know. One
Oh,
of the
he has
parties.
he has the most unbelievable collection of old stuff from the old days. And I mean, honest to goodness, he had a three-story house, and the entire house was packed with this stuff.
Yeah.
The basement was full. There was some on the main level. There was some in the spare bedrooms, and then the attic was absolutely filled to the rafters. I went up there and said, Frank, you only have 2x4 rafters in here, and you're putting all this weight on it. You want to find out how much stress the plaster will take? Because it's turn of the century build, and so it wasn't drywall, it's plaster. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you're gonna wake up one morning and say, why is that crack getting bigger? Oh my God. And then you're gonna have like a lap full of blue dice, blue D20s.
You talking about the house in what was it? The
Sharon, Wisconsin.
Sharon, Wisconsin. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
with the
remember
big with the
yeah, I
big
remember every
statue of
Gary Con
the corn
he would
cob.
have a party,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
Franken party. Yeah.
yeah. Didn't
Yeah.
you help work on that on his house with him?
We built his porch. Me and my kids built his porch for him because he got a quote for like $23,000, which was just unreal. And we built it for like eight and paid ourselves and built it for
Yeah,
like. Of course, I'm not a carpenter, but this is not rocket science stuff either.
yeah, yeah,
This is not a bridge that needs to hold a semi or something. It's just a front porch, for God's sakes.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but no, yeah, that was quite an and that's where I found. I was like, Frank, how much of this stuff do you have? Oh my God! Why do you want some? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I just
I,
remember a couple of the Franken parties. He'd hand out buckets of dice or
yeah, those
those
blue
retro dice,
D20s
and yeah, yeah.
because he had like 12 buckets of those,
I
dude.
know. That's what he told me too. He's like, dude, I have so much of this stuff. He was just
Yeah,
giving it out handfuls, and it's just so funny. Yeah, I
but
think I
he's
have
not a
some around
hoarder.
here.
All right, Frank is not a hoarder.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's unless it's D&D stuff. Yeah, then maybe. Okay. All right.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, I met, I mean, yeah, so we were just talking about it a minute ago. I met Chris at one of the Gary Cons early on. I don't even remember which one. It was maybe six, seven, five, something like
Was
that. I
there an
think
Eldritch yet? Do you remember? Was there an Eldritch Enterprises yet?
I
And for
think
those
so.
watching,
I
I'm
think,
sorry.
and it was in the
El
old venue, the resort.
over at the lodge, yeah, there was an Eldritch for like 1 or 2 years while we were at the lodge, so
Yeah,
possible. But
yeah,
yeah, and for folks that don't know, Eldritch Enterprises was a short-lived company, 2011 to 2016, roughly, that did, it might have been 2010, but that was Frank Menser, Tim Kask, myself, and James M. Ward.
yep,
And we put out adventuring modules. They let me design the release program because a couple of them thought I knew what I was doing anyway. And I said, you put out 3 or 4 modules, and then you put out a source book that those modules all fit into,
yeah.
right? Get people hooked on your stories, then give them the world in which they exist. And we didn't even make it to 3 or 4 modules for most of the guys. So yeah, Uh,
Hmm.
get, getting them to finish adventures was not an easy task. Well, and none of them wanted to write adventures under like 48 pages. They all wanted to write, novellas as adventures. So, oh my God. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we met at it had to have been five or six. But anyways, and then after that, I think I've seen you at every North Texas after that. I think
Well, yeah, we started doing North Texas when I joined Eldridge because
Yeah,
they were like, oh, if he's a friend of Frank and Tim's, he's got to be somebody important. Let's bring him on down here.
yeah,
The other side of well, it's a little bit amusing. The other side of that was they wanted Frank and Tim to bring the company with them when they visited, right? Frank, Tim, and Jim. And Frank and Tim were like, well, we don't drive, we fly, and we're not going to ship our whole company down here. Oh my goodness, that would cost a fortune.
yeah.
And so, and we're certainly not going to keep an eye on our stuff while we're out having fun playing games with other people. So I got a call from the guy who then ran that show, Doug Ray,
Doug Ray.
who's an awesome gentleman. I love Doug. He's since passed away. But, um, and Doug said, I don't know you, Chris, but I was told that if I invite you, you'll bring the Eldridge Company with you. And I said, yeah, I will. So he was amazed because we drove down there in order to avoid the shipping. And met me at the first day of the con and said, what do I owe you for the plane fare? And I said, you don't. I didn't take a plane. Oh my God, you
You didn't have the
drove?
bus at that time either, did you?
No, I had a Dodge Maxi van though, which
Got it.
back
You could get a lot
back
in there.
in the old days, Dodge Maxi vans would haul a heck of a lot. And of course, because they were enclosed, unlike a pickup truck, you never
Yeah,
wound up with water damage or anything else. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But he was happy giving me $200 in gasoline when a plane ticket would have cost like 260 round trip. So he
yeah,
was happy. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And the company came, so they gave us a booth and we sold stuff and everybody had a good time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What a
The
great
good,
con that is.
one of
Uh,
the good old days.
yeah.
Well, and
So,
I've
anyways,
always had a good time down there. Yes.
yeah.
Shout out to Gary Oliver. You do still run a very fine concert.
You're here. Here's my koozie in honor of him.
We actually made them if for those people who are night protectors, which means you've never missed an NTRPG con. We made them glasses for those people with a
Mm.
little night protector emblem on them, and yeah, they're highboy glasses. So. I don't know if he passed them out or not. I hope so. He can sell them to him if he wants to, whatever he wants to do. I donated them to him as a thank you for all the years that we were taken care of so nicely down there by both Gary and Doug. So yes.
They were glass.
Glad, yeah.
God,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
vaguely remember seeing something like that. Yeah, I don't.
Dishwasher safe, no less.
Yeah. Hmm. So,
Anyway,
so
yeah.
Chris, tell me, Chris.
Uh,
So, tell everybody a little bit about you, how you got into gaming, and
yeah.
let's hear
I started gaming my freshman year in high school because in where I lived on a farm, grew up on a farm. Okay. We had horses, we had dogs and cats. It wasn't a real working farm. It was about 11 acres. Okay. And about four of those were swamp. So, yeah, the biggest thing we produced was I would go out and shoot ducks because they were tasty. Okay. Because we had a swamp, so we had ducks. All right. Anyway, um, but I didn't have any really close friends because I didn't live in a subdivision. The nearest kids were a quarter mile away, you know. And while I could run really well back then because I didn't smoke cigarettes, which nobody really should. That's not good for you. Anyway,
Kids
uh,
don't smoke.
yes, please don't. I'd be a very wealthy man if I didn't, believe me. Plus, I can't run anymore. And back then, I used to run a quarter mile in like 55 seconds, something like that. Yeah, I was
Mm,
fast. Anyway, but nobody lived within that quarter mile that were kids. So then all of a sudden, it was high school time, and the dividing line for the school systems was the kids across the street all went to school together at a place called Warren, which people in Illinois will remember is the one where the kids burned their high school down. Okay. They burned Warren up. Anyway, okay. I went to Gray's Lake with a whole bunch of people I didn't know. So I was
mm.
absolutely like the foreign exchange student, new kid in high school, but I'm reasonably gregarious is a good term. Some might say arrogant and not be necessarily incorrect. I always had a reasonable amount of self-confidence is the point. And so I made very quickly a big group of friends, and we would play war games. But back then there was no D&D, dude. So we played Luftwaffe, and we played, oh my goodness, micro armor and all kinds of things like. And I actually designed my first game as a freshman in high school because I hadn't found the chainmail rules, and there was no chainmail fantasy supplement that we knew of. I think there was one, but we kind of passed in the night, you know. So we did one called Hobbit Wars.
Ah.
Hobbit Wars, we also had to hide from the teachers. So what we did was we'd all take our turn in between class. We'd go over to the mimeograph machine, which was free for students. We'd make six copies of it, and everybody would stash six copies in various spots in their books and whatnot. And then if we tried taking a turn during class, especially we used to do it during chemistry class a lot. But anyway, during class, teacher would come by and confiscate, the sheets, and we'd pull out another sheet and start playing again right in front of them.
Ah.
So yeah, we finally got detention, and it was funny because in physics or in chemistry, and we had to wash beakers and things. And we were there about 5 minutes before the teacher said, "Show me how you play this game because you guys are just addicted to it. It's got to be great." So we showed him how to play Hobbit Wars. At the same time, he had a magazine that he brought out, and he said, "You should see this." And it was Tin Soldier, I think it was called, but it had an ad for the old blue version D&D.
Oh wow.
What's that one called? The blue book.
Yeah, Moldvey.
Yeah, the old Moldvey version. And we ordered it. And 2 weeks later, as a freshman in high school, there were eight of us playing D&D. And we were all instantly addicted. Our first GM was Charles R. Lewis. And I, frankly, I've lost touch with him. I don't even know if he's still alive. Um, but be that as it may, yes, we all went through high. And then probably by junior year, I wound up becoming the GM because my friend Charlie did not have a terribly active imagination.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yes, and that Wendy. That's where I met Wendy. Started playing
Oh,
it,
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then I had all these other friends that wouldn't play because it's that creepy D&D magic demonic stuff like you were talking about.
Yeah.
So I
That
said,
was
so
a
what would get you to play? And they were like, well, if it was like, primetime TV, then I'd play. So everything primetime TV was cop shows. And in 1978, when I was a junior, I wrote the first rendition of Inner City, the role-playing game, for my friends to play with me in high school, so that all of a sudden I had 30 people playing, and we had like three different GMs and three groups, and they had big gang wars in the middle of everything. It was just total crazy violence all over the place.
hmm.
Anyway, so you always get more than you ask me for. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. People really don't, I don't think people nowadays really realize, or, I mean, unless you would live through it, but how socially, I don't know what the right word, and it's not acceptable, or just there was such a stigma. back in the early 80s. I'm talking 80s for me, but uh
Well,
how
78 was
it was
78
in the
was the year the kid
news.
just yeah. 78 was the year the kid disappeared in the steam tunnels.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And then
80
I think it
80
really
was
spiraled and went
yeah,
crazy nuts. 70.
80 was when the movie or at least the book came out, Mazes and Monsters, right?
Yep, yep,
And
yep, yep.
about this making kids so all the parents were petrified of D&D. They weren't petrified about Inner City, which is far more violent than D&D.
Yeah,
Um, um, but it was funny because I actually, on the advice of a local store, and I can't remember, it wasn't Bob Bigelow, who I later became good friends with, but said, go ahead and write this up, dude. Sell these rolls, right? And I
yeah,
made like 100 copies off the mimeograph machine and stapled them on the side because that's what we did back in those days,
yeah.
and gave them to the store to sell it on consignment. And my mom, I told my mom, yeah, I got to go out and make $50 because that's what it cost me to get these mimeographed and stapled. And
Sure.
she, oh, you can't do this. Oh my God, this is terrible. I don't want to hear that you're trying to start a games company. You wanted to be a lawyer and you should stick to your guns. And anyway, she was a bus driver for that other school, the one the kids burned down. Okay. And went in the back of the bus a year later when I was a senior and because the kids back there were rolling dice, and she can't have that on a public bus. And she looked at what they were playing, and they were playing Inner City. Oh my goodness. And she came home and she said, all right, if you want to publish a few games, you go right ahead.
What years was this, you think?
That
What?
would be 1979 or 80.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So Inner City's been around that long.
It
Wow.
has. Well, and we took the little stapled version to college with me when I went. So many people on campus were playing so many, maybe 100. Okay. On campus were playing it that one rather wealthy couple gave me $2,000 and said, get this published for real. Don't be doing the staples down the side thing.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
some real books done. And we put it in a box and it came with money that was specific to the game and all sorts of fun stuff. And by the time we were done, we discovered actually how to run a business we didn't know to start with and wasted most of the two
Yeah.
thousand
Sounds
dollars.
familiar. Yeah.
But yeah, I did because I am that guy. 2 years after they had given us the money, when I graduated, they were wondering what was going on, having only gotten their complimentary copies and no checks that were dividend yet.
Yeah.
uh, what are you doing with our money? And we need to know what's going on. And I said, you know what? We haven't done particularly well. It's all my fault. So what I did was I gave them $4,000 to replace the 2,000 they had loaned me. And I said, look, you doubled your money. Let's end this as friends.
Call
And
it
they were,
quits. Yeah.
wow, that's pretty stand up of you. And I was like, well, it's not your fault I'm an idiot sometimes.
Yeah.
That's me. But I learned a lot of hard lessons back then.
Yeah.
And actually, we didn't even get into distribution until, God, 2 years after I graduated college. That's when we figured out how to get into distribution. And
Yeah.
by then I had 3 games out. So holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making my hustle money on cars. Games weren't making me much income. They were just fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, for me, I definitely through the 80s, AD&D was what I never even played basic
Oh,
BCMI or anything. It was all AD&D, and then I think around I'm trying to remember when second edition came out, but I think it was the latter part of the 80s. And I know we kind of looked at that for a minute, our gaming group. And it's funny back then in those days, we got 12 players. And we sneak into the lunchtime during the
yeah.
science room, and the science teacher would let us play and blah 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 blah. But I think second edition came out and everybody kind of entertained it. We Nobody really took to it, but we always kept with first edition. And around after graduating high school, I graduated in 91, and at that time through the 90s, I took a little hiatus and didn't play for a while. Lost all my stuff, which is
Oh,
really interesting. Is I
oh,
come back and I get back into gaming probably I don't know, or I don't know, around when fourth edition, because I missed the whole three E era. But say around when fourth edition came out, and that's when you get like, oh man, that old stuff, and I ended up starting rebuying stuff, and there's a big market now, and the nostalgia, and here we are in our Monday game, because by the way, Chris is in one of, we game Monday night with I don't know, what is there, five, six, seven of us. We play
That's
online. And the campaign's called Helmet Dark. It's
Omelet Dark. And
Helmet
Omelet.
Dark. Yeah, it's basically 576 common year. Gary's starting
Is
port
there a
Hamlet.
blog?
Oh, there is a blog. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it in the
Oh,
comments or the show description. But yeah, we play that every Monday night, and it's first edition. First
yeah.
edition. That's um,
I cut my teeth on first edition, bud.
yeah,
That's
yeah. It's
I can play and enjoy
there's a nostalgia
third.
to it.
Yeah. Well, I
There's
can
a
play and enjoy
beauty.
fifth. I can play and enjoy third. I can't write adventures for either of them.
Yeah.
That's just it's a lot of work writing adventures for them. So
Yeah, it's what I know. It's what I know, and I'm so comfortable with it. I know the page numbers. I know the places where
yeah,
everything's at. I know you asked me where the what page this or that's
tackle
on. I could
tables.
tell you, or I could point right
Yeah,
to it. It's just second nature to me, and
yeah.
it has a place in my heart. But anyways, I cut my teeth a little bit, and not cut my teeth, but I played a little bit of fourth edition. Didn't really catch on to that too much. I actually um, was played at the Wednesday night store events that they had, that Watsy was
Well,
doing
it's D&D
for the
miniatures.
longest time.
It was fun.
Oh
It
yeah,
was.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
It didn't feel like D&D though. It felt like a
Yeah, it
movie.
was it was very. We'll have to do an episode on that too, because I have friends that literally swear by fourth edition, and it's to me it kind of was a tactical, because it was very
Yes,
board
very
driven, and
much so. Yes.
and that appeals to certain people, and to
Oh,
me it
if
really
you
didn't,
like
and
if you like tactical combat, you will love fourth edition. You will.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, and here we are today,
Well, see, and starting in '82. Now I'm a sophomore in college now. We
mm,
have this new company that we'd gotten money given to us on, and we went to Gen Con at Parkside, got a booth at like the very last Parkside Gen Con, and I
mm,
brought a gang of 10 people with me to run events. We ran like 40 events at Gen Con at Parkside, and the whole thing, what I was on-site event list was like 5 pages. We had filled two of them.
got
But
it.
we discovered we'd been to a couple Gen Cons before that. We discovered that the GMs used to get paid a buck a head for the whoever would attend their events.
Oh wow,
So
yeah, yeah.
we designed events that would run 30 or 40 people at a time. Oh yeah. And everybody in the group of 10 would go home with a couple
And that
hundred
was
bucks.
in the early 80s too.
That was and when it was real money, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, everybody would go home at the end of Gen Con without having sold a damn thing for with a couple hundred bucks in their pocket. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
God,
lots of people,
it's funny, some of I don't remember exactly. I'm just going to go back to the 4E area, but you'd have those Wizard of the I can't remember what the events were, but we had used to go to a con in the California area, called Strategicon, and we'd have these huge events where
right,
Wizards of the Coast sponsored for 4E, and we'd have 150 players, man.
right. And you have 3 or 4 GMs and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 8 to 12, and one table would play off the other, and they were pretty well organized. I can't remember what they were called, what they actually, but if it was considered a tournament or what, but they're very
Hmm. Did they run Minas Tirith?
collaborative, not collaborative, but one tables would have a mission, the other table would have a mission. They were kind of a joint mission to finalize a goal. And man, you get 120 people at 30 different tables, and it's pretty nuts. And
Our big one was an event called Arena, which I think I published in like '86. But anyway, was just a booklet game. But what
yeah,
it was It was a video game turned into a miniatures game, because you got one figure, it could be a monster, could be a giant insect, a character, any number of things, right? You
Yeah.
got one 28 millimeter figure. Back then, they were 25s actually. Um, we had a huge terrain board, had some lava and a waterfall and water and a forest and an open plain and a mountainside, and you got 3 lives. When you died the third time, you were knocked
Wow.
out. Yeah. And um, TSR at the time would charge $4 a ticket for it and give us a
Hmm.
buck. But we
Hmm.
would run 40, 50 people at once in this event that only
Nice.
would last for most of them about an hour.
Yeah.
And, oh my goodness. But people loved it. I,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it was funny. We had Arena out on our sale shelf after Wizards of the Coast started calling their Magic tournaments Arena. And a Wizards guy
Oh.
comes up and he says, you can't do that. We have that trademarked. And I said, it's a little older than your version. And he opened it up, looked at the copyright in the mid 80s. He's like, holy crap. How long do
Yeah.
I sell stuff for? And I said, well, as long as you keep selling, I keep printing them. So,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, actually, Arena went out of print in 2006. So
Got it. Got it.
I have two left. Two.
Mm. You have two left?
I have two left. And I have somewhere a PageMaker file so that I could always print some more, maybe. Yeah. Uh, I'd have to
PageMaker.
transcribe it. I'd have to transcribe it to just even send you a PDF. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the good old days, my friend, the good old days.
Good old days. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
The Conmobile back then was a Volkswagen station wagon, a Volkswagen Squareback that everybody
Dude, I
called the,
remember those.
yeah, everybody called it the Zero Mostel Mobile.
Yeah.
But it
Squareback.
did
Dude, I
go.
have not heard of that term in a long time.
And well, it got like 30 miles a gallon, but it had no heat.
They
And
didn't have heat?
no, and I would cram like 4 people and all of our event crap in it all at once, some
Yeah.
strapped to the roof, and it would drag ass the whole way into Parkside over in Kenosha there. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chris, I guess let's wrap this up. You
Well, I
know,
want to hear
you,
more about no, I want to hear more about stuff you're doing. Come on now. Tell them what happened the last event, in last time we played.
oh, we'll talk about that next time. How's that?
All right. You're just
You
hoping I
know, by the way, guys, this is our intro episode. You know, we're just gonna get on. We'll probably do a hoping to do a series on we're gonna dive into AD&D and then some other systems too. So we're just throwing together ideas. This is, you know, it's gonna be a fun journey.
I got one more thing to ask you before we go, because I bet you won't get it. Guess what my earliest campaign was for D&D that I started back in 1978 in high school?
Do I get three guesses?
No, just one.
Oh
Just one.
man.
And I will say this, it was after I had run into Gary Gygax at age 14 when we went to one of the mini cons in Lake Geneva. Mini Gen Cons in Lake
Does it
Geneva.
start with a W?
No. It,
I don't know. I'm lost.
it starts with a C, actually.
I don't know.
It was Castle Wolf.
That's why I said W.
I know that. That's why I told you it starts with a C,
Okay,
because
God.
I knew you weren't remembering
Really?
it.
So that was your first. Okay, we got to
That was
dive
my
into
first
that at some
full
point.
length, actually thought it all through and wrote it all down. Campaign world was Castle Wolf Moon, and we played it when I was a junior in high school. It's been massaged a little bit since then. It's better, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you have wolf wares in it?
I did. And
Mm,
originally it was only 3 levels, three
mm,
levels in a local town, and that was
mm,
it. My town's a full walled city now, and there's 5 levels and all these extra planar adventures.
mm.
Holy cats! Anyway.
All right. Well, here we are. Cut our teeth on this.
Ow.
Ow. Are you all right?
My teeth got cut. Oh.
Well, you guys, thanks for joining us, and definitely spread the word. hit like, subscribe, all that neat stuff, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not too good at this. So
We
um,
hope to see you again.
we hope to see you soon. What we will, and what we probably will be doing is we'll have some of our other friends coming in here, and we're going to debrief some of the Monday night campaign stuff, talk about rules. Like this last game, what happened is we actually had one of the Magic users successfully throw a fireball, which, he got fried but not died. But, we all know about the TPK of
So
fireball.
successfully is you're using a definition with which I am unfamiliar. Because when the magic user fries himself throwing it, I'm not sure that could be called success.
Yeah.
The
But
rest,
I guess
the
I
rest
guess
of us are
successful
fine.
means that the enemy was killed and he survived and nobody else was harmed in the process.
All right. Quick thought for Eric, and we should go.
All right. Bye, everybody.